The union representing banking staff says 19 rural Westpac branches may close. Westpac is refusing to confirm any numbers, but says as a proposal is before staff. They turned down repeated invitations to come on Checkpoint this evening. But a short time ago, long after the news was made public, Westpac did call the mayor of the Otorohanga district to give him a heads up. They may lose their local branch. Max Baxter says the possible closure shows the disconnect between the government's agenda to stimulate growth in the regions versus the behaviour of multinationals like Westpac. Max Baxter joins us on the phone now. Welcome to Checkpoint, Max. What did Westpac say to you?
Yeah, thanks, John. Yeah, at this stage, they just mentioned that they'd gone through consultation with staff and there was a proposal to close the local branch.
Right. What impact will this have on the town? Otorohanga, for people who don't know it, is between what? Hamilton, Te Awamutu and Teikuiti, right?
Correct, halfway. Yeah, just north of the Waitomo Caves.
Yeah, that's right. And it's a thriving little rural town now. How many banks you've got in the CBD?
Oh my gosh, 4.
Okay, so if Westpac goes, what difference will that make?
I think the thing about Westpac going, or potentially going, we should say at this stage, John, is the high-profile site on Maniapoto Street. So the loss of a business right in the centre of town has a huge impact, and a lot of that is really based around perception. You know, if you look at towns traditionally, and banks certainly in towns, you know, banks are an indicator really of wealth and the vibrancy and the future of a community. So when you lose banks, you're almost saying to the people, hey, we're not as economically viable as we once were, or there's no longer a need for the banks in town. So perception's a huge thing when you lose something like that in our community.
When was the last time anyone from Westpac head office visited town, as far as you're aware?
Yeah, interesting. The gentleman I was talking to this afternoon, who's the manager of government relations, he said he passed through town about 2 or 3 years ago. But then I suppose, you know, he's not the person we're really concerned about. It's head office of these multinationals, which is obviously based in Auckland in New Zealand. And then they drip feed down to Wellington, and then they have this... heard a rumour that there's a small town in the northern King Country called Otorohanga, which is really insignificant on their radar.
Okay, so what does this small community do to retain the bank? Are you going to try to do that?
Look, I mean, it's one of those battles that we've had historically. I mean, we talk about, obviously, the government enabling regions, and so far, really, that's failed in terms of policing, courthouses, driver's licensing, and more recently, corrections. So... yeah, you kind of almost get the feeling it's a losing battle, but hopefully if they hear this and they hear enough stories coming out of the regions that they may reconsider, because the impact on small towns such as ours is huge.
Max Baxter, the Mayor of Otorohanga, the district. Thanks, Max, for joining us. We appreciate your time live on the phone.